All right, so this is gonna be one of the craziest comics that I've read in quite some time, and this is Deadpool unalives the Marvel Universe. This is so good, and he unalives not just a piece of it, not a deposit, but like the entirety of the Marvel Universe. So let's get into it, right? So the very first issue, it's a 4-part series here. The first issue starts off with the Watcher, and you know for a fact, whenever you see the Watcher, some ish about to go down with that big ass head. There's always something going on whenever you see the Watcher, right? So he's kind of telling us in the vast multiverse, there are countless of worlds and realities, and some of them do well and some of them don't do well. And in this particular one that he's talking about is just to let you know that this world with Deadpool is not the regular 616. I think this whole point is just to let you know that this is an alternate story in an alternate multiverse here. So that we fast forward and we see Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, on the ground, fully stretched out. And I'm telling you, the man does not look like his whole body stretched out across the entirety of the facility. You can see all the debris around him. Sue Storm is just there crying, oh my God, no, Reed Richards, you can't go like this. And Reed's kind of trying to keep it like, listen, no time to cry about me. You have to get the thing because Deadpool stole something. You have to get that thing that he stole. And, Sue's asking, she's being a mother. She's like, hey, what's going on with the kids? Like, where are the kids? He tells her that they're in the negative zone and that he shut off the portal. So there's no way for Deadpool to be able to get to him. Then Sue tells us, by the way, that like Ben Grimm is already dead, that he's been reduced to rocks and dust. And I'm like, what? Like, what in the world is going on here? And then we get to see our guy Deadpool show up on the scene, and he kills the Human Torch. Like Johnny, he don't look good. Blood all spattered around him, fire around him. And you're going to see some of the ways that Deadpool kills some of these characters. Very unique. Like he did his homework to be able to get through some of these characters here. So Johnny is dead. Sue Storm, she goes invisible, right? And tries to sneak up on Deadpool. But because Deadpool slashes and cuts off Human Torch's head, which is just gruesome, the blood spatters and then shows that Sue Storm is there. So then, of course, she does her thing. She pops off Deadpool's head very graphically, right? But then she's so stupid because I'm like, do you not know who Deadpool is? Like Deadpool, he regenerates. So he regenerates and stabs her in the back. Like I don't understand why she just was not expecting something like this to happen. Like, does she not know who Deadpool is? Either way, let's move on. So then the Watcher comes back and he's like, listen, I'm going to show you how this all started off in the first place. Like why this Deadpool is just going around killing everybody and they mama. So Deadpool gets taken to this asylum. It's called the Ravenscroft Asylum here, where Dr. Benjamin Brighton is developing, they said, a new treatment to ease the troubled minds. It's supposed to turn folks who are basically like evil onto the path of peace. So the X-Men are the ones that bring him to this facility. Now, first and foremost, Wolverine's like, bro, should we really be bringing this dude here with all of these quacks that are currently here? Because keep in mind right now, like Wolverine has gone through some facilities and some places where he's been tampered with. So of course, Wolverine would be the dude that's like, yo, I am not cool with this. Why would he bring it to this facility in the first place? And Professor X is like, the decision is already being made. It's not up for discussion. So we're leaving him here. But overall, what we find out here is that the facility is actually a cover-up for some other operation that's going on. So Dr. Benjamin Brighton is not exactly who he seems. And we find this out when Deadpool, we see him in the straight jacket here. Of course, he's going around making his jokes. But then Dr. Benjamin Brighton tries to get into the mind or tries to control the mind here of Deadpool with one of his devices. Now, the thing about Deadpool, you cannot control Deadpool, right? This dude is insane. Like that's the whole reason why Professor X brought him to this assignment in the first place, because he's just like, I've tried all my tricks. I've tried all my maneuvers to try to get this dude to not be so crazy, and I cannot get into his head. So I've tried all my methods. I'm bringing him here to this asylum. But Dr. Benjamin Bright was like, gotcha, that's exactly what I want, because Dr. Benjamin is actually another person, another alias here called Psycho Man. Now, Psycho Man is pretty much basically like a villain. he wants to do is that he is using this facility to get all these villains, all these people who are here, and he's going to use them to essentially establish reign and domination here on the Earth. So that's the reason why this facility is created in the first place. Because of Deadpool, we realize that we see Psycho Man pop out of Dr. Benjamin Brighton's head, and this dude is like this small little miniature guy that just like it's just so funny. Like overall, this comic is pretty hilarious here. We see him pop out. He kind of looks a little bit like Brainiac from DC or Darkseid from DC, a little bit like just a little bit of like a mashup of these two characters here. But Deadpool ends up killing him. Like he splatters him like on the table. He just whacks him a couple of times. His blood spatters on the table, and then we start to see like this little voice that apparently pops up, like this alternate like bubble, like Redbubble background with like yellow text in front of it. Not the typical sort of like bubble that we usually see that pops up over Deadpool's head. So this is like an alternate voice, I guess, that is inside of Deadpool's head. In my mind, the way that I picture it is that it's still Deadpool talking out loud. It's just that he is like his alternate personality, his Sasha Fierce, if you want to make that reference here to Beyonce. But then we get back into real time where, of course, the Watcher is telling us the story. But actually, before he does that, Deadpool kills everybody else in the facility. I buried the lead there. Deadpool kills everybody else that is at this facility. Dude's just like, I can pay you, free us, let's make a deal. And Deadpool's like, nope. What I need to do here, based on the voice that's in my head, I need to finish the job and I need to kill everybody else here. So then we fast forward back to the current time where the Watcher is telling the story. And he's recanting how, in other worlds, Psycho Man actually would have been successful. And then in other worlds, Psycho Man is not successful. The heroes are able to stop him. And then like midway through him talking, he gets like electrocuted. And we're just like, yo, what the hell is going on here? Like, how did this dude get electrocuted? It turns out that device that Reed Richards was telling Sue Storm about is a device that he was using to be able to detect cosmic powers like the Watcher. And Deadpool can actually see the Watcher, and the Watcher's just like, how in the world are you able to see me? Like at all? Like, how is this possible? And then shortly after that, what does Deadpool do? He goes and he slices off the Watcher's head, which is what is going on? This set the stakes for the rest of the entire series of comics here, because as soon as we jump back in to the second issue of the comics, they start to report that there's a reaction from the crowd. They're talking about the devastation. We see Trish Tilby on TV explaining all the brutality and the rampage that is going on. There's a period of time where she says like, oh no, Hank, which now lets us know that McCoy Beast is also dead. It also is implying too that he's killing villains and he's killing heroes. It doesn't matter who it is. Fantastic Four members, Avengers, X-Men, like he is killing everybody and he's also killing villains. And we actually see like a little mashup of some of the villains that he's killed. So we see like Dr. Doom, he's like draped over some wires or something like that. And I'm just like, how did he kill Dr. Doom? Like of all people, how did he kill Dr. Doom? This one is funny. We see Howard the Duck, like a roasted duck on a plate, just there chilling. Like it's... Yo, Deadpool is wild, bro. I can't believe this. And then we see Spider-Man and Deadpool going at it. So Spider-Man's throwing his webs, Deadpool's combating his webs. Next thing you know, Spider-Man just like throws his behind all the way down to the ground, and his blood just like spatters. Like he falls on top of like a police cop car, and then his blood is just like spattered there. And there are people who are around him seeing this battle happen. There's like a crowd that's circling them in the middle of this battle here. Now, this is where, once again, it just gets dumb. Like the heroes in this world are really stupid. So Spider-Man's like, oh, I'm not going to kill you because that's just not my thing. But I'm going to take you in, blah, 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 blah. I should kill you for all the people that you slaughtered and all that stuff. He picks him up and is like holding him by his mask or whatever. And then Deadpool just shoots off his head. Spider-Man, what the hell are you doing? Also, your spidey sense couldn't tell you that you were about to get shot in the head, my guy? Like, once again, what is going on with the heroes that are working in this place? So then Deadpool walks away. The crowd is shocked because he killed Spider-Man. They're like, oh, he killed Spider-Man. He killed Spider-Man. What did you think? What's going to happen here, guys? So then he walks into this little alley, right? And that voice pops up again. Like, yo, they all have to die. It doesn't matter. Do your thing. But then Deadpool's like, but I want to go big. I want to do something big. And the voice is just like, no, just stick to the plan. You will kill everybody, but you don't need to make a big deal about it. Although killing is a big deal. You get kind of what I'm saying a little bit here, right? So Deadpool wants to go big, so that we shift over here to a scene where we see the Avengers. I think this is the Avengers facility here. We see a couple of the Avengers talking. There's like Iron Man, there's Captain America, we have Captain Marvel, we see Thor, we see Spider-Woman, there's Wolverine that's there, Hawkeye's there, and then we have Luke Cage that's there. Captain Marvel's asking the question like, where are the rest of the roster? And they're just like, bro, this is everybody. Deadpool has killed everybody else. They mentioned some names here like Black Panther, which I'm like, how did he kill Black Panther? Tigra is dead, Iron Fist is dead, and of course that's Luke Cage's boy, so he's pretty upset about that. Now Spider-Woman's like, yeah, we have to kind of stop Deadpool in a sense, like we're kind of gonna have to kill him, but that's not really kind of how, you know, Captain America wants to go about things. And then shortly after that, like, but Jarvis pops up and says, yo, Dr. Pym is missing, right? So Iron Man's like, what is going on? What is he missing? He's like, he's missing, like Pym particles are also missing too. So then Logan starts to smell around and he can smell the Pym particles. He can smell Deadpool. And that is when ish goes down, right? Like bomb goes off. So what happened is that Deadpool snuck in bombs into the facility, but they were shrunken down, right, by using the Pym particles, and he blows up that entire table. We actually see floating around like Hank Pym, like over this thing, like draped around and floating, and like his blood is there. We see the blast go off. We see the facility down. Like we didn't see Wolverine, like his skull and his claws out. There's like Iron Man, you know, that's there too with like his mask and his helmet there. And Deadpool's just like, oh, it's raining men and women. Like bits and pieces of them is what he says. So now they can no longer assemble. Now, keep this in mind now. We see the Captain America shield on the ground there too. Luke Cage, right, has unbreakable skin, right? So you're not just going to be able to blow him up like that. But Deadpool had a plan for him. So what he did is, because they like to drink coffee, he said he shrunk down some bombs even smaller and put them in his coffee. So then Luke Cage is now exploding from the inside. So then Luke Cage is dead. Then Thor pops up. This one maybe pissed me off a little bit too, because Thor's going at Deadpool. He throws his hammer. Deadpool dodges it. It's coming back to Thor, but then somehow he was able to use the Pym particles to, which I don't know if that would work. Like scientifically, I don't know how to prove this, but like he makes the hammer bigger and then it collapses down on Thor, which once again, two things bother me about this. Like, isn't Thor more durable than that to where like the hammer would not hurt him, right? Number two, wouldn't he have just been able to catch the hammer, considering that he is worthy and it is Mjolnir? Like I don't want to. This wouldn't make sense to me, y'all. But once again, Deadpool's going on this killing spree, holding that Ant-Man helmet. Do what you got to do, I guess, right? So then, who else pops up here? So like Hulk pops up and like rips Deadpool apart, like into pieces here. He whips him apart and then just goes behind a rock to then shrink back down to Dr. Banner because he was sad because he's all alone. I mean, I get it, but then also like Deadpool regenerates, guys. Like he regenerates, you know. So he regenerates, goes back around to Dr. Banner, slices his head off. Like, I don't know if there was an easier kill for Deadpool than probably that one right there, right? So the voice is like giving him props. Hey, Spider-Man, the Avengers, the Hulk, you've done a lot in today's work. We fast forward here, we see some of the members who are mourning the loss here. Mary Jane, there's Trish Toby, there's Alicia Masters, we have Melina Garner, and they hire the Taskmaster to now go after Deadpool. So that we pick up here on the very next issue. And in this one, we see a couple other members that Deadpool is killing. Like I said, he's killing villains and heroes here. So we see Venom over a draped, like a symbiote draped over a bell. We see Multiple Man, like all of Multiple Men, on the ground. We see Green Goblin that's on the ground as well. And there's like a black cape person. I don't necessarily remember who that black cape is. So forgive me on that. But, Taskmaster's talking about how it's like so hard for him to track him down. But then we fast forward here to like this facility where he's captured Professor X. So Professor X is in there talking and dialoguing here with Deadpool, and Deadpool stabs him in the leg because he wants him to call his X-Men. So he, with his mind, calls to me, my X-Men. So then they pop out or they're trying to come to his rescue here. We see Emma Frost, there's Cyclops there's Sam, aka Cannonball, there's Pixie, that's there as well. So while they're trying to get into this room to go after him, there's this little orange ball that pops up and then goes over Cyclops' head. Now they're trying to like help him to get this thing off of his head, but then it starts to glow and then boom, blows up and kills all of the X-Men that were in there. We see him on the screen, like Cyclops' head is popped off, Emma Frost, like she'll look good, guys. Like, you can see Professor X, Scott, Emma, Sam, no, you guys are dead. And then we see like Colossus, Gambit, and Rogue in a particular room that's like caving in on them. Colossus is trying to stop it from caving in on them, and then they get electrocuted. This is another one that doesn't make sense to me here, because wouldn't Colossus be able to resist that electrocution? Like, I understand like maybe things closing in on him, but like the electrocution didn't really seem like something that could happen. Now Professor X is trying to plead with him, but the voice in his head is just like, hey, he wants to talk now. It's never been easy for him to get inside of your head. He's hoping that he can connect with you so that he can read your mind. Let Professor X try to read your mind. So then Professor X, they're going back and forth there. He's pissed though. Like Professor X is pissed because he's just like, why are you doing all of this? In general, he tries to explain a little bit, Deadpool, like, you guys think I'm psycho, but I'm the only one that knows what's actually going on here, and I'm gonna figure it out. I'm keeping it all together. And so Professor X then tries to get into his head and then dies because whatever is in Deadpool's head, I guess it's too much for him. So he has like an aneurysm. Bro, listen, some of the stuff is funny, but some of the stuff is just like, how exactly did this happen, sir? Explain this to me, but whatever. Then we see Magneto has died due to acid. Like there's a room that was filled with acid, I guess, and that's how he died. Kitty Pryde is stuck in like this mirror maze that is there. So she's going to be running forever until she can't run no more, and phasing until she can't phase no more. Like she's going to be stuck in there forever. Wolverine pops up here in the first room that he goes into. He actually sees Arcade first. So not Deadpool, but he sees Arcade. Now, Arcade, if you don't know, is a hitman who creates like murder worlds that are like death traps to kill different sort of heroes here. And most likely was the one that created like the death traps, right? Like the orange thing that went over Cyclops' head, the room that was caving in on them, caving in on Colossus and Rogue and Gambit that electrocuted them. And then also who probably created this next room here, the mirror maze, right, with Kitty. And then this next room here where Wolverine sees his son and daughter, Daken and X-23, in that room. So in this room here, there are computer monitors that are set up to monitor the vitals of X-23 and Daken. And any single time that their regeneration starts to happen, the flamethrowers come back on and it burns them again. So that, of course, that continues to keep weakening their body. So then like, Wolverine gets pissed. Deadpool shows up looking like, I don't even know what the hell he looks like, to be honest. He said that he's Samurai Mountain Man. And I'm just like he looks like a mashup of like Sabretooth. I wonder if he was trying to go for like something Sabretooth-ish, just to kind of piss off Wolverine. But pay attention to this here, because the sword that Deadpool is using is made out of carbonadium, which affects Wolverine's healing factor because carbonadium is radioactive. So whenever it gets into the body, it just slows down Wolverine's healing factors here, right? And then he tells Wolvie that, I've killed you before and I'll kill you again, but you probably will keep coming back because your mutant power isn't regeneration. It's actually popularity, which is a nod towards us, right? Because we want Wolverine to come back, and that's the reason why Wolverine keeps coming back, right? So he stabs Wolverine in the stomach here and, then chops off his head. So now Wolverine is also dead too. We then get over to the Doctor Strange. Like we fast forward to seeing Doctor Strange's home here, where Doctor Strange is dead and Wong is dead. So Taskmaster walks in because remember, he's been tracking Deadpool here, and then he sees, both of the dead bodies, but then also sees that he's been going through the library as well. So in this library, one of the books that Taskmaster picks up, he sees this thing, and like the page that he left it on was the Nexus of All Realities. Now, if you know what the Nexus of All Realities is, I'll explain it really quickly. It's like a cross-dimensional gateway in Marvel Comics that provides access to all the possible worlds there are within the multiverse here. So that's going to come to play in the next issue here. So then we fast forward to that. This is the last issue number 4 here, where we're now seeing heroes and villains that are rioting, right? There's Black Knight that we see there. There's Black Widow. She gets shocked by Shocker, so she looks like she dead. There's Doc Ock that's there. There's Blade that's there, and probably a couple other characters that I'm probably missing too. But then they mentioned that there's this like suicide pact thing going on where heroes and villains are throwing themselves off of buildings. And then we see like Daredevil with like this batons in between his eyes. And I'm like, why would he do that and then throw himself off the building? That's most likely because of Daredevil was trying to fight them off, and then, they all just ganged up on him and took him out. Or that was most likely because of Deadpool, because that would be a funny way for Deadpool to kill, probably Daredevil here. Now we see a couple other characters that get into crosshairs like Bullseye and then Nick Fury. And then we see Deadpool in a crosshair too. So it turns out that like Punisher was hunting down Deadpool. What a surprise. Another vigilante who was trying to get after Deadpool here. So then he shoots him and runs over to the building where he was at and then try to finish him off. He's like, I'm going to keep on killing you, because he knows that Deadpool revives. But then once again, like turns his back, and then Deadpool wakes up and then kills him. Like I don't understand, guys. Like why they're just not prepared for these moments and these things that are currently happening. Somebody got to explain it to your boy here, right? And then we see this quick little scene here with like Nova, this helmet that's floating around. There's Silver Surfer's corpse that's there. Gladiator, Thanos is floating around in the air. And I'm like, am I supposed to believe that Deadpool killed all of these people? Like, how in the world did Deadpool do that? Like, I don't understand it. So then finally, we go to the swamp, which, it's kind of setting things up here for us to see Man-Thing, which is not a major deal, but kind of a big deal. All right, so we fast forward, like I said, here to where Taskmaster is now going to go up against Deadpool. The voices in his head is like, hey, we don't want to be forgotten. We want to have never existed in this world in the first place, which sets up a speech that Deadpool gives a little bit later on. Now, what's surprising to Deadpool is that Taskmaster can also hear these voices too, or what's being said, which I don't know if that's because of like a mercenary connection that both Taskmaster and him have here, but they're going through this little fight. But then Deadpool starts to give a speech in the middle of his fight. He's just like, yo, this world that we live in is pointless. And you can sense it, Taskmaster, is what he's saying. He's like, there's senseless death, there's resurrections just to be killed over and over and over again. There's mutations, there's cosmic rays, there's chemical disasters, and then he mentions secret wars and secret invasions. So it finally clicked to me, and I'm like, yo, Deadpool is talking about the Marvel comic universe, like the writers of the Marvel universe, that they've created this world, right? So it finally clicks to me. So Man-Thing pops up and then kills Taskmaster, sets him on fire here, and then sacrifices himself by creating a portal for Deadpool to then walk through. And then this is where we get an image here of some of the Nexus reality, right? Or the Nexus reality. This is actually a really nice, visual here. I really love seeing this. Like, so like we see Dr. Octopool. Then we see like Captain Deadpool here. There's Fantastic Four. We see Professor Deadpool in a chair. Oh my gosh. Dogpool is there. Like Doctor Strangepool, I guess. I don't even know all the names of these characters, but there's a bunch of Deadpools that we're seeing here. Now, the voice in his head is like, find the center point here. And just be careful that even the progenitors of our universe may be nothing more than playthings for other entities as well. So he goes through this portal, and then we see like the writers talking. The writers are talking and they're just like, how should we close off this entire book that we're writing here? And this, once again, just like baffles me. And it's so funny and it's so cool at the same time that the writers are essentially writing their own deaths by Deadpool. And Deadpool at the very end is just like, listen, you who are reading this, I'll find you soon enough. I gotta say, for a lot of the crazy crap that they did in this damn thing, it was fun, it was interesting, and it was kind of cool. So I'm looking forward actually to reading the other one where Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe again. Some of it though, some of them, it doesn't even make sense how he was able to kill some of these characters like Ghost Rider, Thor, Spider-Man, like some of these characters, it doesn't fully even make sense. Even Professor X just dying like that, I just thought wasn't like super realistic, but it's also comics, so deal with it, right? But listen, appreciate you guys watching this. Let me know what else you want me to cover on the channel here. We're going to be continuing to cover Deadpool content, continuously as we go up until the movie here on July 26th. Hopefully you like this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel here if you want to see more content like this here on the channel. That definitely does help us to be able to continue to create these pieces of content, and we're definitely looking to be able to get to 1,000 subscribers. But I am your host, GoofyRhexxi. Thank you again, guys, for kicking it with Keepin It Comic.